All right, let's get to one of the good things from tonight, and maybe it helps him out with the rotation. Our player of the game. Let's go to our player of the game here tonight.
Look at that.
And that is one KJ Martin Jr. there. 5 for 9, 5 for 6 from the floor with 11 points.
I was going to say, if he's 5 for 9, he definitely didn't shoot 83%. So we got to figure that out.
3 boards, 2 assists in 20-plus minutes of work. And he was active. He was really active, getting his hands in there, finishing the lob that he also had an opportunity for. He played some good basketball tonight. And if there's any indication of us talking about Ricky Council and the battle between those two and who gets the most minutes, even pregame, Nick Nurse talked about how he felt KJ Martin has played well in training camp and through preseason. And tonight, Kyle, he was solid for the work that you're asking of him.
Yes, I used the phrase solid but unspectacular for his preseason in my recap tonight. I think tonight was the first night that was like, oh, that was an objectively good game for him. And I do think it showed. We really hammered Ricky on Saturday post-game for playing out of control, not understanding his role, like stepping outside of himself at times. I think this game showed the difference to me and to probably what the coaching staff sees between KJ Martin and Ricky Council right now. And that's that KJ can have these sort of just very controlled role player games, mix it up, use your athleticism, but there was never really like a what the hell are you doing type of moment, right? It was, and frankly, on defense, I thought he had some great help defense rotations at times. In fact, the play of the game for me was Kyle Lowry getting a block, which Kyle Lowry getting a block in an NBA game in 2024 is just insane. But the reason he's able to get it was because KJ made a good help side rotation, stepped in, Kyle Lowry comes from behind. And so there are just more of those plays that he's stacked up during the preseason. And he leveraged his athleticism, which has always been the thing, right? He's a nuclear athlete. We know what the genes are. His dad was a crazy athlete, but you don't often see it impact the game. It's just a thing he has that every once in a while it's like, oh, that was a cool dunk. And then he gave up 10 points on the other end of the floor and missed 2 threes, and that was kind of that. But I thought he was a consistently helpful player tonight. And so that was a nice thing in the midst of a game where there were a lot of like, or less than performances.
Was he the one who had that assist to Lowry?
On the cut, yeah. The quick connective
Paul George
pass.
had a shot fake, found him down at the dunker spot area, and then he found Lowry. So that was a nice pass. He had a solid all-around game.
And I'll trail it with the second quarter play where he had the 2 offensive rebounds off of the 3-point looks that the Sixers had, one from Maxey, and I cannot remember who the other one was. It was a result of his first offensive rebound. They missed. He got the next one, and then Oubre did finish a nice little, about a 12-foot jumper there, right there in the paint because of the work that KJ Martin did. So good work all around by him tonight, and he's being rewarded with those minutes ahead of some of those others simply because of that in this time. All right, we also wanted to ask you guys about Yabusele, first big off the bench.
He was, I mean, if we were just going by pure box score, and we probably could have made the argument that he was the player of the game. Double-double, 14 and 11. I think he had 3 assists as well. That was the main difference was he had competent personnel around him, and he's not having to be superhero on the back end all the time. And so I think everything we argued about over the weekend where it's like, well, is it all him or is it just he needs the other guys out there? I think we're seeing if you can put a couple switchable wings next to him and have, I mean, even having Lowry out there where certainly he's not a lockdown defender at this stage of his career, but a guy who's almost always going to be in the right spots. And on top of that, offensively, those two already have a pretty good understanding. They ran through on one possession like 2 or 3 dribble handoffs in a row, and Lowry's been very good at finding him on those duck-ins or the switches from other teams where they try to get out to Lowry, and then it's like, okay, Yabusele's got like Trae Young or whoever on him. That is not a favorable matchup for Atlanta, certainly. So good Yabusele game tonight. Great bounce back after a tough one the other night.
Yeah, and I thought a key was, very early on, he got the ball swung to him and it was wide open. Like he probably had 8 feet of space, and he just swung the ball around. Didn't even look at the rim.
And we were like, oh, brother.
And then that same possession, he hits a corner 3.
Yes.
So I give him a lot of credit for the fact that he as sirens go off in the background. Very excited about that Yabusele game. I give him a lot of credit for the fact that, he passed open, had a sort of record scratch open three, and then moments later had the confidence to take it. I do wonder if he's way more comfortable from the corners than he is above the break.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a little bit like a Pascal Siakam situation earlier on in his career when he just could not shoot above the break. And that would make sense because obviously the corners are shorter, a little closer to what he is used to, and he has to get used to that distance. But being able to make that above the break three, especially if they're going to put him out there. Because like you said, when you were talking about Drummond at the top of the key, he was up there next to him for a lot of the game. If you're going to have your big men up there, it really helps if they're able to space the floor. But he had a really good game on the glass, was much better defensively, and we were pretty harsh on him after the past game. Moved the ball around well. It was a good Yabusele game for sure.
Very good game. And if he played 21 minutes tonight. He got up 4 threes. That's completely reasonable amount of threes
Volume's
for a
fine.
guy in that situation.
Looks to be the clear third center on this roster right now, ahead of Adembona, who didn't get into the fourth quarter. Derek, what did you make of the opportunity to finally see him at the 4 next to Drummond, since you brought that up?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a ton of time, and I do worry about the spacing. Like I said, especially the fact that I love the fact that he seems comfortable taking the corner threes. I do want to see him grow that and extend that out to above the break. I wouldn't say that there was a whole lot that was notable during those minutes, just the fact that they did get that ball movement when they were at the top there, because it's going to be interesting to see how that works offensively. Obviously, on the glass, it can be real strong.
Mm-hmm. I think we just haven't seen enough of it yet.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, the counterpoint there is most of his overseas career has been as a 4 next to bigger guys. So it's really, that's where the shot matters, right? If he doesn't shoot well, but he's only playing small ball 5, it matters, but it's not as consequential because he will presumably have better shooters around him. If he doesn't shoot as a 4, then it's like, well, you're compromising Joel Embiid's space, or you're playing next to Andre Drummond, and that's like a 5-alarm fire situation.
And guess what? KJ Martin will get those 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's a little more athletic and do some more things, cut along the baseline, be a little more active there, force some drop-offs from those other teammates to get some easier buckets there and compete defensively, rebounding as well.
We all silly like the mayor.